Hey everybody, it's Michael here from GetFitOver40.com. Today I'm going to talk about Popeye's Fall Classic, this year's Popeye's Fall Classic that I just went to. A lot of you already kind of know the results and everything, but I just wanted to follow up on it, give my impressions. I do have some of my stage photos that I'm going to be inserting in this video. Just some of the ones I liked from it. And just talk about, how I felt I did, positive things, some negative things. And possibly what's going to happen next year. I'm not going to talk about the Vancouver Canadian Nationals because, well, I don't have my stage photos from there. I don't know. It's really weird. Popeyes was a week later, but I got them. But the Canadian National photos, nothing. Even emailed the people and haven't heard from them. So possibly I'm going to have to call up my credit card company and say I didn't get my product. It's been over 2 weeks. So that's pretty sad. Anyways, so bad on you guys. I'm not going to mention the name of the company. You can take a look at them if you want to. I don't want to badmouth anybody, but you guys need to get with it. That's too long. Okay, if I ever do get those photos, I will share them with you because I really feel, other than my tan, that I brought the same package. I hate saying package, but I brought the same version of me to both shows. Maybe slightly different, but really similar. Maybe I carved up a little more for the Canadian Nationals than I did for Popeyes. I was a bit more conservative. I'm not sure if that brought out some more detail. I don't know. I have to look at the photos, but I don't have them yet. So enough about that. Let's focus on Popeyes Fall Classic. This is the big boy, the bad boy, the overall trophy. So I did get the overall trophy, as a lot of you know, in men's open physique. I'll talk more about that, but I just kind of want to go over some of this stuff real quick here for you guys. I also got, of course, I got first in physique, my tall division, open D. That basically allowed me to go in the overalls for the overall trophy, right? Which I got. So that's a little guy here, but he's still kind of cool. Just a little guy, but again, very cool. And then, I don't know what happened here. They did some weird thing with the stickers, but I'll fix that later. This is my Popeyes Fall Classic Physique C 3rd place. And I'm really proud of this because I wasn't even training for Classic Physique. I wasn't even thinking I was going to do it because when I did the Canadian Nationals, it was all about physique. I even really didn't focus a ton on my legs, so I wasn't bringing them up because I didn't know I was going to do Classic Physique. And I only had a week between the Canadian Nationals and Popeyes Fall Classic to prep or to get ready to even start my posing routine, figure it out. I made some changes and had to remember it from last time, which is over 2 years ago. So there was a lot I had to do, and just like the mandatories, all of that stuff, I had to figure out and practice a lot basically in 1 week. And it all actually turned out pretty good and went very smoothly on stage. So I don't have any video, but I can show you those photos again. I'll be popping them in here periodically. But he's pretty cool. He's a pretty buff looking dude. He's more like a bodybuilder, but he looks very classic. So I'm really happy with that 3rd place finish in the open category. And for all of you that don't know how the categories work, open means it's open for all ages. There's no cutoff in ages. You can be any age. It's open. You can be an older dude. You can be a younger dude. So most of the guys are going to be in their 20s, some in their 30s. Very few are in their 40s. Sometimes guys like me will come down into the open category just to see how we do, how we compare. But generally speaking, masters and grandmasters, I'm a grandmaster, I'm 50 plus. We don't always do super well in the open category, especially at the higher levels. Now, this was a regional show, so Popeyes is a regional show, which means you don't have to qualify. Anybody can come. You don't have to have done any other shows and placed in any places or get 1st or 3rd or whatever to qualify. You just have to come and bring yourself, and that's good enough, right? So you get all types. But there's definitely a lot of outstanding physiques, a lot of guys that have worked really hard to get there. And in the open physique category, there was 50 plus guys. Most of them I was like, most of them, 90% could have been my kids. And that's the class I competed in. So I'm really proud of my accomplishment there. We'll talk more about that. But if you're not familiar with the other classes, so for instance, in the Canadian Nationals, that wasn't an open show, it wasn't a regional show, it was a qualified show. So you go there to compete with other qualified athletes, and I competed in my class, which was Masters and Grandmasters, for an overall card again, but it just didn't happen. We'll talk more about that when I do that video. That's another story. I did get 1st in Grandmasters, and I did get 4th in Masters at that show, by the way. But again, it's a higher caliber. and you know, it's a different set of judges. Same guy went to both shows, got totally different results. Could be judging, could be a lot of things, but again, I competed in open at Popeyes, which is the young guys. I competed with the older guys. That's not belittling the older guys, but because like it's pretty amazing the caliber that these 40 plus guys are bringing to the stage for sure. Anyways, okay, so that's how I did at Popeyes Fall Classic. How do I felt I did during the show? I felt I brought, you know, a really great version of me, maybe even slightly, like I said, slightly, not that I was more conditioned. It's really hard to tell because I only had a week between shows, and I ate kind of like a horrendously for 2 days after the Canadian Nationals, while I was kind of contemplating whether or not I wanted to do Popeye. So I wasn't eating great. Definitely gained a little bit of weight in those 2 days, but then I cut really hard for 5 days before the show. And I weight trained, and I got a lot of exercise right up to the show, which is something I don't generally do, but I had to do it because of the time frame. And I felt that maybe I might have even come in slightly leaner. It's really hard to tell. We're talking like 0.5% maybe, not even. But I felt tight. I felt I looked just as good, if not better. Hard to say. I didn't carb up nearly as hard because I only had 1 day to carb up. So I definitely didn't spill over at all. I may have started to spill over just right at the tail end of the evening show at the Canadian Nationals. But even when you're getting close to spilling over and you're filling out to the maximum, you lose a slight bit of definition just because the drier you are, up to a point, you can be too dry. But if you're pretty dry, not spilling over at all or not even close to it, you will look really shredded, even more shredded than when you've got that full filled in look. So maybe that helped. I don't know. I need to look at those pictures. Things that I'd like to improve for the show. I felt my posing was really good. The basic poses, everything. I liked what I was doing. But I have this shoulder impingement that really, it's not that the shoulder's smaller. It's actually, in some ways, it's stronger. It's really weird. I can do just as much weight, if not more, with the shoulder. But it doesn't want to get into the same position. So when I go like this, if I go like this, I can get this shoulder to pop. This one likes to kind of droop. It likes to kind of, it's hard to get the shoulder back and come up and the lat to pop. It's just hard. I've been trying to do some stretching and stuff, but I'm going to really work on that and really go. I'm going to go to a physio guy and see what we can do to loosen that up, to get it to be more free so that I can get it to come out more. Because what sometimes happens when I'm doing a side pose is this shoulder just, it should, you know, come out more, right? And I tend to bring it in and I lose a little bit of width. And I need every little bit of width that I can get because I'm not a wide guy. I can make myself look wide by posing, and I'm hoping to make myself look even wider if I can get the shoulder to relax a bit and pop more. So that's one thing I'm going to work on for my next show. I think conditioning was good. I'm going to work on a little bit more size. There's a possibility I might do Classic Physique again, just because I'm now qualified. Because I've qualified, I got 3rd in Classic Physique. I could do Canadian Nationals or any pro qualifier now in the open category, in the Masters, in Grandmasters, whatever I want, because I've qualified in open. So that's cool. So it's literally, I can do anything Classic, anything Physique. I can do either category, open right up to Grandmasters. So we'll see what happens, but I would have to put on a little more size in Classic Physique. I was definitely the smallest guy out there. Need to bring my legs up because, like I said, I hadn't been working them that much, and they could definitely come up a little bit. I mean, they're not weak, but Classic Physique guys, they just got these tree trunk legs, not like the old school Classic guys. If it was old school Classic Physique, then maybe I'd be okay, but no, I think I need to bring those up, and I want to get a little more shoulder width. Just bring out my shoulders some more, and you know, maybe if I can put on a good 5 to 10 pounds of muscle between now and then that's what I'm going to try and do. And what I'm going to how I'm going to try and do it is not a bulk of what you would call a bulk. I'm just going to be eating like a maintenance calorie diet, maybe just slightly over. I'll be adjusting it as needed, up and down, just because I don't want to get fluffy and I want to stay lean. But I want to put on some muscle. I want to be in that pocket where I have energy and strength. I'm not so lean that I don't have that, but I'm not fluffy at all. So it's a fine line that you have to kind of walk on to get that. So I'm going to find that fine line, stay there, stay maybe around 7 or 8% body fat, maybe 9 if that's what I need to do while I bulk, so that when I do get to the weight that I want to get to and put on the muscle I want to, then I can start slowly leaning out for the show and take my time over several months without losing the quality of the muscle that I gain. So that's the goal for the next show. When is the next show? The next show is potentially, one I'm looking at is in July. I don't have a lot of details because there's not a lot of details on the Canadian Physique Alliance website, but if you go there, it's a July show in Surrey. It's a pro qualifier. So that's probably the one I'm going to do because it's local. Traveling like to Toronto, there's a couple pro qualifiers, at least one I know of before then in Toronto, but I don't want to have to travel again. It does get costly, and I feel I'm a little bit out of my environment over there too. So that's kind of what's going to happen. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened after the show, because you might notice I'm not quite as crispy as I was in some of the earlier videos getting close to the show. You know, maybe I'm not quite as shredded. I don't know. It's okay. I mean, it's not bad. But it's definitely not, my abs definitely aren't as tight. That's maybe why I'm wearing the tank top, right? But I wanted to talk about, so leading up to the show, I was using my in-body scale, and that there's going to be a review on that. I've been using it dedicated, so I've got lots of info now that I can look at, especially while I was cutting, and well, a little bit before I was cutting, and then as I was, you know, eating, and then kind of like going back up and down from just before show, just to after show. So I got lots of data to share with you that's very interesting. And the scale I find is pretty accurate, but it's, you know, it's not perfect. None of them are going to be perfect. So October 24th, 2 days before the show, I was 190 pounds. I was, according to my scale, I was 5.7% body fat, okay? October the 25th, I was 190.3 pounds. It's the day before the show. I started carbing up, basically that morning, okay? Just a little bit, so you're not going to see a lot of carb up weight there. And I was, according to the scale, 6.3. So the difference between 6.0 and 6.3 could just be the way I was standing on the scale. I should have been probably exactly the same. But we'll average that down, we'll average that to 6.0%. Now, one thing I did want to mention is that on October 25th, I also used another in-body scale, a professional one at Dean Brandt's workout place. It's, what's it called? Dean Brandt, oh, sorry, brain fart. Anyways, he's got a gym over in Coquitlam. We went there, or I went there. We did some posing practice, and I weighed myself on his scale, his in-body professional, like $4,000 or $5,000 scale. It's the same version, it's the same in-body machine, but it's a higher quality stand-up kind one. It's not a home unit. And I hit the scales, or my body fat percentage was 4.9. So 4.9 versus 6.3 on the same day. I'm going to say there's at least a 1% variation between the scales. So I think my in-body home scale is registering 1% higher than what the pro ones do. Not a big deal. It's just something to consider. Which one's right? I don't know, but we'll go with the pro one because it sounds better at 4.9%. So I'm going to take everything down by 1% at the end of the day just because I want to, because it sounds better. So November the 5th, or sorry, that's today. November the 3rd, 2 days ago, because I didn't actually do a fourth reading, I just didn't weigh myself on the 4th. I was at 201.3 pounds, and I wasn't carbing down yet. I was still just kind of eating regular food, but trying not to overeat too much, but I was. And I was 201.3 pounds and apparently 7.4% body fat. Today, I was 196 pounds. I've been, for the last 2 days, watching my carbs. They're not, I wouldn't call it no carb, but it's definitely a low carb diet. Eating better, probably eating a lot closer to maintenance, if not maybe just a bit under. And so I weighed 196 pounds. I'm starting to lose the water at 7.9%. So for whatever reason, I dropped like 5 pounds, but gained 0.4% body fat. So we're going to average that out though to 7.6%. So the difference within about a week, a little over, of post-contest, you know, eating and stuff, where I was eating quite a bit there for the 4 or 5 days, and then started reeling it in slowly, and over the last 2 days reeled it in a lot more, is I would say I went up 1.6% body fat according to the in-body readings that I have, my H20, the one I have at home, and my fat, probably that would equal to about 3.2 pounds of fat gained between show day and now, about 9 days later. Is that bad? No, I think that's good because I was way too skinny to have a life, right? Being like just under 5% body fat. So let's just say we were 4.9 because I'm going to take it down a percentage. And today I'm actually 6.6. Okay, so say 7. So say 5 versus 7, about 2% body fat. Let's talk about that. Being at 5% body fat is really, really hard to maintain unless you can live at that body fat percentage for a long time and your body adapts to it. Then it would be okay, but it would take a fair bit of time to adapt. Living at, 7% body fat, well, that's a lot easier. And I've done it and been there for long periods of time, lots of times. And I plan to stay around this, maybe even drop just a little bit. Definitely not go much over 7 or 8% for sure. That's kind of the threshold I want to maintain because it'll allow me to have energy and strength in the gym, because for me it works, not for everybody, but because I've lived there for a long periods of time, my body's used to it. And because I got lower and going up, the body is obviously a lot more comfortable. My eating my cravings have subsided quite a bit now that I'm up a few points. It's much easier to manage my food without feeling like I'm starving to death. I can even be at a slight calorie deficit and feel comfortable. So I know I'm kind of in that pocket now where I can kind of stay here. But it does make a difference. Being at 5 versus 7 for me is a huge difference. For other people, you might have to go higher, maybe 10 or even over. Depends on where your set point is. My set point just happens to be a little bit lower, so that's good. Yeah, so it's good. I'm happy. Now, am I happy that I've lost all the crazy, absolute ridiculous shreds that I had on show day? Yeah, it's kind of like, where'd they go? I'm at the gym and I just can't see every single striation anymore. I could see some. Right, I think I still look pretty good in the gym compared to most people that like to kind of be a little more fluffy and thick, but I like that kind of conditioned look. So for me, I'm kind of happy with the conditioning. I'm pretty happy right here. The goal again is to just put on some size, keep training hard. Don't take as much of an off season off. I'm going to probably train at least 5 or 6 days a week, hour and 15 per workout or so. Try and hit every body part at least, 2 to 3 times a week, and just see if I can grow and just get some more muscle for the next show. That's, without it getting out of hand and getting puffy and, doing one of these crazy bulks. All right, so that's it. That's what happened. Those are my results. That's what's going to happen in the future. And if I do get those GNC All Max Canadian national photos ever, then I'll share them with you and talk about that show when I can actually see how I looked. Maybe I'll even compare the photos from both shows a week apart and see how they compare. All right, thanks for watching another GetFitOver40.com video. I know it was a long one. Don't forget to subscribe. Check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Until next time, take care.